the hashtag 30% or nothing has nothing to do with stopping guns.
Okay.
The hashtag 30% or nothing is the agitation of members of young members of the People's Democratic Party to have more representation in their political party. And I think they have a right to make those agitations. Where I have issues with the hashtag is where they try to make that agitation look like it's about us, young people. So it has nothing to do with silencing the guns. But if I have to connect it, then I'd say the fact that the young people can have these conversations is very, very positive. Because if people don't have the ability, if they don't have the platform to air their disagreements, to vent their voices, they would have to find other ways to express those things. And one of those other ways is guns. So anywhere people are able to, look, some leaders, for instance, say that young people are insulting them, they are cursing them. They should be appreciative that they are being cursed, because those curses could easily be bullets in their brains. Sometimes when you cannot talk, when you don't have an opportunity, a platform to express yourself conventionally, you go about it unconventionally, and blasting somebody's brains is unconventional. So it's a great thing that we can talk. It's a great thing that we're having these conversations, because it allows us to vent our voices the way rational people vent their voices. Where these things are not made to be possible, other ways are made to be possible. And human beings, when you don't allow them to go through one thing the conventional way, they always get to find their way. So I think it does help to reduce it helps the gun conversation, in that people are able to vent their voices, and so it means they don't have to go through venting their voices through other means, like killing people.
I believe that the whole world knows that I come from one of the most peaceful, democratic, and stable countries, not only in Africa but in the whole world, having the track record of never having a war in the country, or even being at war with any other country outside the borders. And one of the reasons why we have been able to achieve such peace and stability in Botswana is because we have had one of the oldest forms of democracy, which is in the form of the Khotla system. This is a cultural gathering where we highly believe that it is very important to solve disputes amicably through talking. In Botswana, we believe that there's absolutely never ever a reason for you to resort to violence under any circumstances. It's very important to talk through it. It's very important to even call a third party where the two of you are having a violent exchange of words or in anything like that. So we don't have even a background of fighting in my country, because we never even fought for our independence. We had the British protectorate, and then later on we were given independence from British colonial rule. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean that my country is perfect. It doesn't mean that it's smooth sailing. We do not have disagreements with the government. It does not mean that we have things that we question about the administration, the government, and so on and so forth. It doesn't mean that we don't have challenges where we feel our country or our government does not represent our needs or does not prioritize our needs and even respond to them accordingly as young people. One of the biggest challenges we have in Botswana is the representation of women and young people in positions of power, authority, and influence, particularly in the National Assembly, where we have less than 5 women, where we have, I think, 1 or 2 young people who fall between. In fact, we don't have a young person who falls between the age bracket of below 35, according to the AU. Those are some of the challenges that we have with our political system in Botswana.
Well, let's hope they achieve this feat by 2020 as they have planned. Time for a break, and we will be joined by Bola Dale Adikoya. Initiative called Bringing Down the Guns in Africa, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa. You just heard from our online contributors. We're now joined by Bola Adikoya. Bola, thanks for coming on the program this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Quite a very interesting discussion there by online contributors, but let me just come to you now. Bringing down the guns in Africa. What does that entail, first and foremost?
Okay, I think the major issue now we have in Nigeria is we have a government that is concerned about their pocket, is about their well-being, and about the immediate family. I think Africa, Nigeria in particular, is under a huge crisis. We have violence around, and I think the major thing is about ensuring that these youths who contribute majorly to these social vices are kept engaged. They are being made part of the government. They are made administrators. They are part of the decision making. So we believe that if these youths are part of this this process, then definitely violence will be coming in the country, not just in Nigeria, but even in Africa.
Talking about process, what process do you guys have on ground? What are the processes right now that are being used to make sure that this thing is happening?
Now, when we started this initiative of having an inclusive government, administration where the youth also have a say, we brought about the issue of the 30% or nothing, and we brought about the issue of we've been advocating that the age restriction in the Constitution should be absolutely removed, because I don't see a way where the government understands or feels that a 10-year-old Nigerian is capable enough, is mature enough, is psychologically okay to decide in the electoral process, but suddenly they feel such youth at 18 and above is not psychologically okay to vie for any position in the country. So if you look at the 1999 Constitution as amended, the age restriction in Nigeria is still above 30 for you to contest for any election in the country. So it is disheartening. So what we are advocating for is this: first, let us ensure that every Nigerian above the age of 18 can contest in this country, can vie for any political position. Because the major issue is this: I'll be frank with you. Our major problem in Nigeria are the so-called elites, the elders in quotes, those who believe that they have the experience to take charge of this country, and the youth are just they come in handy when it comes to social violence and political thuggery. That's the problem we have in Nigeria. So what we're advocating for is this: we don't want to be used during the electoral process. No, we want to be part of the process.
You just made mention of 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and 19 to 30, they're about just like what the Constitution is restricting. How mature are this set of people?
Oh, thank you very much. I think there's a misconception. When we say 18-year-old above, we should give them the leverage to vie for political position. I think it still boils down to the electorate. There's so many things this so-called 18 has to learn. I think maturity-wise, moral rights, and the rest. But I think the major issue is it's not just about 18. It's just like a bridge, 18 and above. Doesn't mean anybody in 18 can contest or should contest. But give them the liberty, create an open field, create an open environment. Let anybody who has a passion, let them vie. It is not left for the electorate to decide. But anybody can vie from 18 and above. Since anybody from 18 and above can also vote. Doesn't it bother the mind that we feel that this 18 cannot vote, should not vie for position, but they can vote? Okay, let's believe they are not matured enough, they are not experienced enough. Then that might be choose their leaders. So if you want to agree fine 18, okay, they are not voting, or they cannot vie. Then they should not vote. Okay, let us start from 21. Then are they matured enough? Let's start from 21 then. But I want to let you know that maturity is not about age. It's about how far you've been able to build your personality. It's based on your experience. It's based on how far you've been able to build yourself. We have people in this country who are below 16 years, and when you hear them talk, when you hear them act, when you see them act, rather, you will feel they are above 30.
Okay, so